Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to show you how to use Tenable Identity Exposure to remediate Kerberos Des keys misconfiguration on user accounts. In today's session, we will show you three key methods. First, we'll show you the Active Directory GUI. Then we'll show you PowerShell from the command line. And then lastly, we'll show you how to use the export feature coupled by a basic PowerShell script to remediate all accounts en masse. So let's jump to the platform to see what I'm talking about. So inside of Tenable Identity Exposure, we're looking at indicators of exposure, and we're looking at the Kerberos configuration on a user account. And what we want to do is narrow down the reason. We're focusing on the Kerberos Des keys misconfiguration vulnerability here. So now we've got that filtered on that set. And we can see that we have these different accounts inside here like Arlen and Barry. So the first one we're going to remediate is Arlen, and we're going to do this through the Active Directory GUI. So let's go in and look at what that would look like through the GUI. So let's open up Active Directory Users Computer. We're going to find that account in AD, and then we're going to go to the account options, and then we can see that use only Kerberos Des encryption types for this account is enforced. This is a legacy algorithm. It's very easy to compromise, so we do not want this set on the user's account. So let's go in and remediate this vulnerability. It's as simple as going in and removing that checkbox on that account, and then that will put that into a safe state in regards to it's not going to force Des encryption only. So now let's go in and see what Tenable Identity Exposure shows in regards to this remediation. When we click out, we have to go back in and filter it down to the set that we were working with because there's multiple misconfigurations with this particular vulnerability. So we can see that that account is no longer in the state. Now let's remediate Barry's account using the PowerShell command line. So let's open up Active Directory users, open up our domain controller, and then go to the PowerShell module, and then we can see that there's a command that we could set here called set-AD account control. We're going to specify the identity that we're working with. In this case, it's Barry. And then we're going to then set the value to use Des key only to false. So let's go ahead and run this PowerShell. And now we have that one account remediated as well. Let's go back in and verify that through Tenable Identity Exposure. Again, we need to filter out only the reason that we're looking for, and we can see that Barry's been remediated. So now we've remediated one through the GUI and one through the PowerShell, but that's still not how AD admins work. We want to work on remediating all these because we do not want this vulnerability or misconfiguration in our environment. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we want to go in and say select all pages. And now that we have all pages selected, that's going to select all the accounts. Now we can go in and use the export all feature. It's going to export this out to a CSV. Now that we have our report, we're now going to then use that in a PowerShell script to go in and do mass remediation. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we're basically taking that report CSV file, we're reformatting it so that it will be comma separated value. By default, when you export using Tenable Identity Exposure, it is a semicolon separated value. So we need to reformat that. Then we're going to then call that same file and then do a for each, and then just basically set the AD account control. We're using the dash identity, but we're using a variable called path, and then we're going to set that use Des key only to false, and this will allow us to do mass remediation of all remaining accounts. So let's go in and run this in my environment, and let's go. And now that we've ran that PowerShell script, let's go in and see what Tenable Identity looks like. This may take a minute to show up because we did just do a mass remediation. So these objects need to be updated in Active Directory, and then Tenable Identity will pick these up once the PDC emulator captures these. So it may take just a couple minutes. So now that we go in and filter on the reason, again, we can see that a lot of these accounts have already disappeared. We'll wait a couple minutes, and then we'll go back and do a refresh. All the accounts should be remediated here in a few minutes. And you can see more and more accounts are falling out of that state. So just a couple more minutes, and we should be able to see that all of the accounts have been remediated for this misconfiguration. So all of those accounts are gone because now we only have the one reason. So thanks for tuning in.